TikTok may no longer be with us in a matter of days. And what we want to talk about today in State of the Game is, what does this TikTok ban mean for reality TV, specifically for our beloved game, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette? I think this is a broader issue than just TikTok. But what we've seen already is, in the past couple of days, in anticipation of this ban going through, a lot of TikTok users, or as they're being called, TikTok refugees, have gone over to this other app it's either called Red Book or Red Note. I'm not sure. It's another Chinese video sharing app. And this one, by the way, is like very Chinese, very plugged into the Chinese government. There is no illusion that this is being made for Americans whatsoever. But in mass, people have migrated to it as kind of a middle finger to the government for shutting down TikTok. So I don't think that's going to last. I don't think people are going to turn that app into TikTok. There are certain, Communist Party regulations on what content can and can't be permitted to be seen there. And so, yeah,
I bet.
I don't think there's going to be
ghosts. No. Well, that was the stuff I had to check Chinese screenplays for 10 years ago when I was working at a co-production company. Yeah. There were all of these bizarre rules for content.
Yeah.
It is wild what is happening. I am so sad that TikTok is going away, because it is my favorite social media because of that algorithm, I guess. I have actually wept at some of these goodbye TikTok videos where people are posting their favorite TikToks and a goodbye to the community and stuff. And I hope that there is something that emerges that is the alternative. But it also begs these questions of why is TikTok getting eliminated? We give all of our data to China for all of our purchases and everything. Yeah. They've already got it. Everyone's already got it.
It's 100% political. The conspiracy theorist in me really wants to angle in and be it's a consolidation of information media to essentially the Republican Party. And that is what you're seeing now. Obviously X, which is owned by, it's formerly Twitter.
FKA Twitter. That is owned by Elon Musk, who is obviously very much in line with the current Republican Party. You also are now seeing Mark Zuckerberg. Musk is not Musk or Vask, for the record.
Musk is literally Musk.
Musk is not
with
Musk.
With a K, not a C.
Zuck is not Musk.
Zuck is kind of Musk.
I don't know.
He's been working out. He does jiu-jitsu. But Zuck is also now beholden to the Republican Party in America. We've seen this past week, he announced there will be no more fact checking on any posts across any of his platforms. That includes Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Exactly. That's good. So
I think that'll be really good for a lot of things.
Absolutely. It'll only help.
Some really devastating things have come from Facebook, like genocides. And
2016
I
election.
think if there's less facts, I think that's going to be really healthy.
It definitely will not be. But I think what's happening generally in the social media landscape is you get rid of TikTok, which is the only one of the big social media platforms that is not now completely aligned with the current government that sits in Washington, D.C. So the fact that you have the other two big ones, which is Twitter or X, however you want to call it, and all of the Meta suite of social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. What's that?
You did a big one. Oh, you guys really did a big one over at Kazam, or?
Wait, what?
Leah Kateb?
I don't remember. What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
One of her famous phrases.
You guys did a big one?
Oh, you guys really did a big one.
I see.
Over there.
Yeah. These social media platforms are now going to be conduits for propaganda that is in service of essentially strengthening the current regime in power. I don't know what that means exactly for social media as it relates to reality television, because when you go into reality TV, if you pop off, if you become a Leah Kateb, if you become anybody who has 1 million or more Instagram followers, that's your job. Primarily, that's how you're going to make money, is through SpawnCon. If there is a mass exodus away from these social media platforms, now that TikTok looks like it's going to be gone, that, by the way, is a huge revenue stream for a lot of creators. That's just removed, eliminated.
Gone. All of those people don't have jobs now.
Right.
All of those small businesses don't have the way of reaching people.
Except for Instagram. I think it will you will see people going back to Instagram for a minute, but I also think the people who are on TikTok and don't like what's happening are going to be a little hesitant to go back to a social media platform.
I don't think
that
they're
is
going
controlled
to.
by the current White House or the incoming White House.
That is the interesting thing about this like consolidation is like, is it going to be your social media just is your, we're only going to see insular social medias, and you're going to have to decide, are you making social media on the right wing one, or are you making it on the left? Are you making it on both?
Right.
Like,
well, but there is no left wing one. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's the Twitter alternative is Blue Sky. The guy who made Twitter made this one, and it's kind of like it's Twitter basically, except it's a kinder, gentler Twitter. It's more left leaning. That said, there is no left leaning Instagram. There is no left leaning TikTok. And right. I think like if you can look at X, I've remained a user on X for the whole time because I'm very curious, especially after Elon Musk bought it, to see like what it became.
Big confession.
Thank you.
I still have a login through my other podcast just to check. Like, well, I had to check it during the fires,
Sure.
It wasn't actually that helpful. Yeah. So I'm going to delete it.
It's basically become a channel through which Elon Musk promotes his own tweets and ideas. And that is it. Mm-hmm. Most of the people who are left... I tried
to block him and his posts still show up.
Exactly.
You can't.
And I think the same is going to be true of Instagram and of Facebook. It's going to be whatever the powers in control in Washington, D.C. decide should be news will be promoted over everything else. So what that means for reality TV...
Praise be all the powers that be. All of you. I respect you all.
Oh, wow.
And love you and will be loyal. Whoever it is.
I will not be.
Whoever is my spy listening to this. That's been a big thing. People saying hello to their Chinese spies on TikTok.
Right. But
it's very interesting what is going on.
It is. It is. Social media in this country is about to drastically change. And how that's going to affect reality television is still kind of up in the air. But I suspect you're going to have... You'll have to have this attitude that you kind of like dismiss that part of it if you still want to make money off it. And you're going to be like, whatever, I've got 2 million Instagram followers. I'm going to keep doing my Doritos Spawn Con or whatever it may be. It's like, it's still going to be a viable way to make money. But I'm also curious if advertisers will care about it. We're already seeing a kind of move.
Advertisers have cared about Twitter. They all left.
Exactly. And so if that becomes the case, then it's like, where do these big brands advertise if not through influencers?
And the influencers are going to have to create, like, go on whatever the new one is and build that platform up all over again.
Yeah. But that actually maybe, like, I can see in the very near future, some companies are going to make attempts to issue alternatives to these, what are now essentially Republican social media platforms. And I think one of them might take hold. It has to be good. And the thing about TikTok is that algorithm. When you're scrolling through, it just within a matter of like maybe an hour, it knows exactly what you want to see and it gives it to you. That algorithm is unrivaled. The Instagram Reels one is nowhere close. The YouTube Shorts one is nowhere close. That is what has to be replicated. And I don't know if that's possible because it's proprietary and no one knows how they did it. But we'll see.
There's got to be someone, like, I just don't see how that could stay secret. But I have been surprised that Instagram's algorithm hasn't gotten better. I would think they have all the resources to, I don't know, spy, whatever they do on at these companies.
Yeah.
Look how conspiratorial I am now. I'm thinking they're all spying on each other.
They are.
To be fair,
that's not conspiracy.
Like, I have friends who work at some of these companies at certain jobs, and they're not allowed to like open their computer anywhere public, and they have to like be really secret, like. So I guess it must happen. Yeah,
it's fascinating to think about how, there used to be reality TV before social media, obviously, back in the early 2000s. But by the time Instagram was around in, the 2011, 2010 era, you started to see influencers coming out of Bachelor, Andy Dorfman, Caitlin Bristow, what have you. I guess they were a little bit later, the 2013, 2014. But that may not be the case. Canetti. If generally speaking, engagement across all social media starts to dwindle because of how politicized it's going to become, it may no longer be possible to be an influencer unless you are a right-wing influencer. or a Christian influencer, Madison Pruitt, you'll be fine. You and Grant Trout will be just fine.
I don't think influencing is ever ending.
I don't think so
that
either.
Will be
I'm just saying in terms of
forever.
like it's a choice you're going to have to make. We might get to a point where if you want to come into a reality show specifically to become an influencer, you have to kind of already have a pre-plan in your head about which platform you're going to be on and how much of the kind of political element of it will you accept or not accept. I don't know. We're
everyone's going to go into their own little billionaire camps. It's going to be like all the billionaires at the top, and you just like pick which one you want to do your stuff.
Social media in this country has traditionally been a place where you can get kind of on the street type news, things that you could like trust as being real. I think that is gone completely. Sure, you had to sift through a bunch of shit and kind of, do your own investigation into is this information real or not. Now, almost none of it will be, and it will be promoted as though it is. And I think that's
that Hollywood
strange place to
sign
be.
on fire was spread so much, that video.
Yeah, that AI image. Yeah. And so when you have that video, and now nothing is being fact checked, there is no little banner that says this is not factual information anymore. It's just going to become true, whether it is or not.
And people already believe the stupidest shit you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's going to get even stupider. I can't believe it.
It's wild. I agree. We are entering kind of unprecedented times in terms of, the United States is essentially entering into an authoritarian era. And the first kind of pillar that usually authoritarians use when they take over is to take control of the media so that all news narratives are controlled from the top down. That is what is happening currently across all social media. And time will tell how bad that gets and what the effect is on reality TV people using social media to make a living. I'm just fascinated by what we're about to enter in terms of that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, the numbers have been dwindling. The engagement has been dwindling on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a movement to shift over to something else. And they're like, oh, actually, I can get more eyes on this if I go to whatever, because Instagram's they're out. You can't grow on Instagram, that's really difficult to do. Mm-hmm. And TikTok was kind of known for that of you just need to make good content and you'll grow eventually.
Well, not to mention now, though, that the owners of these companies are literally aligning with a political ideology that hadn't really happened before. In the 2016 and 2020 elections, there were calls for you to have fact checking on Instagram or whatever, all these kinds of things. And certain technological measures were put in place to, in quotes, assure us that that was the case. But as soon as Elon Musk aligned with incoming Trump, it was like, oh shit, the owner of one of the biggest social media platforms in the world now aligns with an authoritarian dictator. Now Mark Zuckerberg has done the same thing. So you have to assume all of their products are compromised completely.
Happy January, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this State of the Game. We wanted to take a moment away from the fires to just, go to a jovial, lighthearted topic. I mean, we can't not talk about it, though. It's it's going to have such a big impact. I did not believe it was true. I was like, well, someone will buy TikTok. It certainly is not actually going to go away. Well, and now I'm like, oh my God, this is...
I've heard that there are plenty of buyers who have the money, one of them being Elon Musk, but TikTok is like, nah, fuck you. We'll just turn the lights off. See how your citizens like that. Interesting strategy.
It is an interesting strategy. I'm just hoping for some boring times ahead. I always think, Chad, this week I thought about, I was an early adopter of online dating and I did OkCupid, and there was actually that's still around. There was a question on there that was, would you it was supposedly an algorithm for getting you together if you align on these things. And one of the questions I think about during all of these disasters is, do you want interesting things to happen or good things or boring, non-interesting thing or good things to happen or something like that? And I was like, why would you want interesting? That's
There was a question I remember when I was into online dating, when I was on the apps. I think it was OkCupid or Chemistry, one of the two, old school. It said, in a certain light, do you think nuclear war would be fun?
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, huh?
Too.
Who the fuck
It
is
was right
saying
next
yes
to that question. Yeah.
I was like, anybody
And I
who says
guess
yes to that
people,
question, I don't think
because
we're
I
compatible.
just watched a video of a man purposely lighting a palm tree on fire this week.
Jesus.
I think it was real.
Yeah,
I can't guarantee anything is real at this point, but
indeed.
like some people did come out and start more fires when the fires were going on, which is just like, okay, that's
You just want anarchy. Burn it all down.
a mental illness.
Well, we will see what happens with regard to TikTok going away, maybe the consolidation of TikTok users back to Instagram, certainly the politicization of both Twitter or X, as you want to call it, however you want to call it, and all of the meta platforms.
And certainly
That's
it's
coming.
not the first politicization. Like Facebook has definitely played a role in elections before.
Right, but never overtly
But
like
yeah.
this. The CEO of Facebook was never having dinner with the incoming president at Mar-a-Lago. That happened this past week, and he donated $1 million to him. It's they're all working together to basically control everything you see on social media. And I don't know how that's going to affect reality television. I suspect it may not, honestly. I suspect sports, reality TV, things of this nature, big celebrities, it may have no effect on how they use social media. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it depends on how many people know this news. There's a lot going on. There's a lot getting lost in the interesting chaos going on right now. Yeah, I hope everything works out.
It will.
And everyone and good things happen.
My prediction is that there will be multiple attempts by multiple different companies to come up with a TikTok replacement. One of them will be good enough, and you're going to see
that's
a
what
massive
I want.
amount of people go to that.
Give me a replacement.
Because there are going to be people who want to leave Instagram only because of who Mark Zuckerberg is now.
Yeah.
And what is going on in this country. And I think if you have that replacement, then it's going to be a matter of like, will the US government issue a ban on that social media platform? I don't know.
Hard to see it not happening.
At this point, I
like
agree.
my right to an abortion has been taken away.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's already apocalyptic what is going on. So
Yeah. TikTok is just the next domino to fall, I suppose.
I don't know, but I hope that all the influencers are able to navigate this time period. I think they will. I
Me
think
too.
they'll do great. Yeah.
We'll see.
If anything I've learned from this week, it's that life goes on.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way, no matter what. No matter what.
You figured out you could, but you never stopped to think if you should. Let's move on now to
So
all
good.
those
So good. What an icon.
kids. What?
What an icon.
Goldblum?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Never should. You have to what? Kind of sounds like Vial.
Yeah, your Goldblum sounds like Vial. Let's
You
move
never
on to
stop to think if you should.
Jeff Vial or Nicholas Joseph Goldblum. Let's move on to all of those kids.
Do you think he's one of your 5 people?
Vial? No, I spend very little time on Vial. Certainly not as much as Madison Pruitt. Let's move on
That
now.
is not coming through, I would say.
Well, okay. Maybe to me it seems like very little time because there was a time where I spent a lot of time with Vial.
Okay, it's decreased.
It's
That's
lessened.
great.
Yeah. As I say that.
I mean, you're buying his shorts,
Yeah.
his used shorts. So I'm like, okay, well,
I've also
he's really kind of disappeared out of your life.
and I've also put in probably about 70 hours on my highest level character on Path of Exile 2, who is named Nick Vial. Let's now
Well, that
move
can just be
on.
random. Some of my Pokemon I named after people that I'm no longer even friends with, but they're still my best Pokemon, you know?
No, I created this character last week.